So I've heard that you are so close to success, and there's just a few things that are holding you back. There's a few things that you're like, why is this not falling into place like I'm hoping it is? What exactly is holding me back? What am I doing to prevent myself from getting to where I truly want to be? This video is for you. I have definitely felt in the past that my mindset has held me back, that my limiting beliefs have held me back, that the opinions of others have prevented me from reaping the success that I know that I deserve and I know that I can have. So this is part 2 of how you're standing in your own way of success. I'm going to go into 5 other things that I feel as though have helped me level up and have got me out of my own way, have maintained those blinkers on towards, success and not getting distracted by things going on around me. I'm like focused, I'm in flow state, and I'm just keeping my eye on the prize. And these things have ultimately got me to that place. Hello everybody, my name is Hattie Hyder. I talk about all things success, mindset, spirituality, leveling up, and wellness. So if you're interested in any of those things, then definitely hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Really want everybody to join this just gorgeous community of people that realize that they're a force to be reckoned with. And I want to make you realize the same thing about yourself, because you truly, truly are. As I said at the beginning, I'm going to go through 5 things that have really helped me level up, really helped me receive the success that I, was striving for. And the first one is your lack of patience is stumping your growth. This is something that I am still working on. I have come a long way, but is extremely hard to master. We have grown up in a society where we champion or herald instant gratification as the norm. The moment we want a dopamine hit, we can easily get, like nice food, we can go online, we can look at what other people say, look at positive comments, we can have a drink of alcohol. When I just need a dopamine hit, we can get that right away. Like, success doesn't work like that. And the things that are worth maintaining and worth having require delayed gratification. And in actually quite a few of my videos, I've referred to Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he talks about this phenomenon in particular, in that our caveman brains are literally wired to expect instant gratification. And when we don't get it, we're like, what? Like, why is this not working? There's something wrong here. This is like pointless, or what I'm doing isn't creating like a cause and effect straight away. Like, we can't see the fruit of our labor straight away. Therefore, why are we bothering? And it's just one of those situations where the people that become successful are the people that really are able to practice and understand that things do require a delay period. There's this phenomenon called the plateau of latent potential. Definitely look it up in James Clear's book. It talks about this exact gap between the work that you put into something that you really care about and the success that you want, and actually getting there. There is this gap where you physically can't see in your reality yet the fruits of your labor. You can't see that the work you've put in has actually garnered a result yet. But that gap is so important. That's where there's all that potential. If you power through that gap, you're gonna get there. And most people, like 99% of people, just give up in that gap because they're like, oh, what I'm doing isn't working. And oh my God, like, I definitely fell into that gap, and I have done since the age of like 22. I started YouTube at 22 and I'm 26 now. And I've gone off and on because I can't remain consistent, because I don't have patience. And I'm thinking, well, I've done it for a bit, surely it should be working. No, it just doesn't work like that. And it's a very tough lesson to acknowledge and really understand. But knowing that things take time and knowing that you have to be patient is actually so reassuring and validating, because when things do take a while, when it does take a long time to build up, a following, a client base, sales, that it's simply part of the process. That you just have to be patient. That you just have to persevere, because this is just a rite of passage. Or when you see this particular phase as just a challenge, just a rite of passage for you to like overcome, it becomes less personal. You don't get so distracted with, why are things not working? What is it that I'm doing wrong? Why can I just not get the success like now? Why are other people getting that success really quickly? I mean, for example, you don't even know their journey. They might have been plugging at this for a while. Try your hardest not to get distracted with, why is this not working? Why can't this happen for me? What am I doing wrong? Because it's just the part of the process. Every successful person, apart from the odd few who are maybe like Nepo babies or just lucky, have to go through this process in some form or another. It might be a physical process, it might be a mental process, it might be a spiritual process, but at the end of the day, everybody has to go through this particular period between working and getting the success that they want. That is the plateau of latent potential. It's building those foundations, it's building momentum, it's generating all this energy that you can't see yet in your reality to then be explosive when it finally does hit. And that is really exciting. And that is why patience is so important, because without it, you will just get like demotivated. You'll be like, oh, right, well, things are just not working, so I'm just gonna give up. You can't give up. Only the people that give up like fail. The people that don't give up and maintain patience and build that patience and acknowledge that patience is a fucking virtue are the people that gain success. That is just how it works. You know, I always think if it's taking longer for you, it means your calling is higher. And I've seen this on TikTok so much. If it's taking a long time, be excited, because you are building success that has longevity, that has richness. It's not going to be this one-hit wonder. It's not going to be this like kind of went to the top and then fizzled back out again. You are building long-standing foundational success, and it's taking a long time because these things do take a long time. It's taking a long time because what you're going to create is going to be explosive. It's going to be massive. Having patience for that period where you're not seeing that satisfaction for your labor yet is essential. You have to build it, you have to practice it, and only through that will you get to where you want. You won't get demotivated, you won't get disheartened, like you won't lose hope, because hope is like the patience is the hope. Those two things have to exist for you to get to where you want to be, because you have to wait out that delayed gratification phase to get the success that you deserve. Following on from this then is to avoid comparing. And I know we see this all online. We're all guilty of it. I struggle with it. Every creative does. It's just something that we are, certainly within the capitalist structure, we are, we have this ingrained into our brains that there isn't abundance for everybody, that we're competing for resources, we're competing for abundance. And it's just not true. But irrespective of that point, comparison is the thief of joy, and it really, really is. And I have just gone through a massive growth period of healing that part of me that feels the need to compete. When I grew up, it was very much part of my household to be competitive, and I was very competitive with my sibling, and I think it's pretty normal. I think most people feel this sense, but I was like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I hate it. It brings me down. It lowers my vibration. It gets me distracted. It makes me lose focus on, the goals that I'm working towards, because I'm like, oh, but, me and this person have started on the same position and they're, further along than me. What am I doing wrong? And it makes me think that, I'm not in the right place and that kind of thing. And especially somebody that's decided, and you might be this person too, somebody who's decided to take an alternative path, that being the entrepreneur route, the content creator route, the creative route, the artist route, which, by the way, is an extremely competitive industry in the sense that not everybody is able to make that their full-time job, and there's so many people online who are creatives. It can be a bit of a breeding ground for feeling inadequate, for feeling as though you aren't doing enough. I suppose that's married with this imposter syndrome, or this feeling of inadequacy. But in order to get out of your own way, and in order to become successful, you have to a far degree, heal that part of you that feels that need to be what's wrong with me? Am I not good enough? Or you're comparing yourself to somebody else's journey. I know, cognitively and intellectually, we can all acknowledge, yes, it's so pointless to compare yourself to other people, because everybody has a completely different experience, completely different reality, completely different mind. So how can we possibly compare? But the thing is, it is so, ingrained with us. It's so normal as part of the human condition as well to compete, that it's a really hard thing to heal. But the problem is, when we have this competitive edge, or we feel the need to compare, it can be very damaging and hold us back, because we're so focused on this, and I'll get onto this, brings you to this sort of place of victim mentality, why not me? Why is this not working? They're doing better than me, and comparing yourself to someone at the end of the day who is completely different from you, and has a completely different experience from you, and privilege and so on, that it really is futile. It's so pointless and it holds you back. I was in my own way, honestly, for years, because I felt as though, first of all, feeling inadequate, just feeling like I was never doing enough, which I guess is connected to comparison and just seeing other people online just do incredible things. And I was thinking, God, like, I'm not in that position right now, or, how am I going to get to that position? But it's just not focusing on what really matters. You're getting distracted with this feeling of victimhood, or this feeling of like, I'm not doing well, what's this person doing? Your focus is not on your projects. Your focus is not on your goals. Your focus is not on the right thing. Your focus should be being a better person. Your focus should be being a better version of you and improving and working on you every day and showing up for yourself in some capacity every day. The focus is in the wrong place. By comparing or worrying about what other people are doing, you're directing your much needed energy for your goals onto something that doesn't actually help you move forward. So healing that part of you where you feel like the need to compare, or not healing, but just working on that part so that it becomes less dominant. Because to be honest, for me, being somebody on social media a lot, you are confronted with what other people are up to, what other people are doing, and how you could be better. And it's not like a really obvious sign like you should be doing better, but it's like the reminder that maybe you're inadequate, or it reminds you of how you feel inadequate, or it reminds you of how other people are doing better than you, or different things from you, or basically being in a position that you wish you were at. And it just takes the focus off what you need to focus on, which is your dreams, which is your goals, and keeping those blinkers on, like not getting distracted with anything else. There's nothing like inherently wrong with it. It's fine to have like a healthy amount of, look, this person's doing incredible, I'm going to take inspiration. That's different. But when you feel like negative around it, I think that's when you've got to think, is this something that I need to work on? Is this something that I can make peace with, or understand that like, I'm always going to feel this way, but how can I make it so that it feels less painful? So yeah, comparison really is the thief of joy, and it doesn't it doesn't help you move forward. It's okay to have these feelings of like comparison come up, but I suppose it's like, from that point, how are you going to make sure that it is more, subdued? How are you going to make sure that it doesn't impact you so heavily, and that kind of thing? Because I think it's always going to be there, but how are you going to lessen its impact on your goals and working towards those goals, I think is the question I certainly ask myself, but also we can all ask ourselves. Another way that we get distracted is seeing challenges as personal when they're not personal. The universe will send you challenges and obstacles as an opportunity for you to level up, as a chance for you to think, right, why am I given this? Why have I been given this challenge? Why do I have to overcome this? What am I going to learn from this? So seeing challenges as a lesson, which is a blessing, rather than, this is really annoying. Like, why does the universe do this to me? What's wrong with me? Why does this always happen to me? And again, I'll refer to this victim mentality a bit later. It is so like actually unhelpful for yourself, and you're staying in your own way by seeing challenges as personal, by taking challenges and obstacles and bad things that happen to you personally. I think it's okay to feel hurt, and it's okay to feel disheartened, and all the emotions that come with thinking like, oh, this challenge, like I really could have done without this today. But like not letting that go further, and not letting that define you, and not using that as an excuse to not move forward. I think that's when it becomes dodgy. Like, it's normal to feel negative emotions towards obstacles and challenges and bad things that happen. I'm not negating that. That's important, and it's good for you to process those, but it should not go further than that. It should not get to the point where you're using it as an excuse to like stay stagnant or to not move on. It's so destructive and self-sabotaging to think this way, and to think that challenges aren't really there purely for you to basically level up, basically for you to grow and, pivot. The amount of times I look back on certain periods of time in my life that were really challenging and really hard, I'm like, I'm so blessed that these things happened to me. So, growing up, I was very sensitive, very, I'm a sensitive person. I'm very emotionally attuned, and I used to see it as such a negative thing. But working on healing, my attachment style, all those kind of things, at the time I was like, this is so painful, this is horrible, like I fucking hate this. But actually I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, yeah, but I get to talk to you guys about it. I get to share my experience and my knowledge and reassure other people about it. and give tools and skills to other people to help them get through this period of time that is so challenging. Like, that is worth it for me. My whole TikTok is based around self-development, self-improvement, helping yourself and understanding yourself through and through. I wish I had those kind of resources when I was going through that. So I want to provide that for other people. And I'm so blessed that I had these experiences so that I can talk about it. And I have a YouTube and I have a TikTok dedicated to these things. It is like the biggest blessing ever. Like, it makes me so happy to talk about it. So I would never ever see those challenges now as anything other than a blessing, as anything other than like, yes, I get to level up, like I get to grow, I get to pivot, I get to move on in some way. I handed in a business application for some funding recently and I forgot to add like my slide decks. And I didn't get through. And I was like, why didn't I get through? And I was like, wait a minute, what challenge? What am I trying to be told here? What is the universe trying to tell me? And I just forgotten to put in slide decks. So I was like, right, an opportunity to level up, create some slide decks. It's always, the universe is always conspiring for you, not against you. So seeing these challenges as a beautiful opportunity to grow is what is going to get you out of your own way. You're not going to get distracted with feeling disgruntled, feeling like a victim, feeling like, the universe is against you and people are conspiring against you. The same event is taking place, but how you see it really affects where you go from there. And do you want to continue to wallow in your sorrows, or do you want to take the hit and utilize it to help yourself grow, help yourself level up, help yourself get further, and that next step to where you want to be? And the optimistic option is to just see it as an opportunity to level up and become that much closer to your desired self, to your confident self, to your successful self. The victim mentality is something that I used to hold when I was probably like a teenager, young adult, before I started that healing journey of realizing that I had so much more control over my life than I thought that I did. I'm not talking about extreme cases here. I'm not interested in victim blaming, anything like that. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking specifically about people who let what happens to them define them and use it as an excuse to not get out of that situation, to not help themselves out of a situation. But this victim mentality of using things that happen to you as an excuse to not move on and not progress and not actually achieve the goals that you're looking for. Like, it makes no sense to me why in the past I would have all these goals, but I would just be so negative and I'd be like, oh yeah, but these things don't happen to me. It's what's wrong with me? What is it that I'm doing wrong? Like, it just is so unproductive. And so, yeah, just like, it's just made me stagnate. Like, I wasn't getting anywhere because I just thought of myself as this victim. Like, bad things happened to me. That was just, that was just what life was like. And there was some kind of vendetta against me that was like preventing me from getting to where I wanted to be. It's just not like that. It's self-sabotage. It's holding you back. Especially if you have goals. You are standing in the way of your goals when you make excuses for why you can't do something. I mean, I've heard it before where people have said, I really want to start a business, but I can't do it now. And I can't do it because of this. I mean, I really like to, but I can't because of this and this. And I'm like, if there's a will, there's a way. And it's so frustrating having gone through that phase to see people stand in their own way and not work towards their goals because they're so like consumed with why they can't do something and why something's holding them back. When you have that victimhood mentality, you're kind of like a passenger in your own life. You don't think that you are in control. You don't think that you have choices. You don't think that you can overcome certain things, and you don't see things. You don't look for solutions per se. You don't look for alternative pathways. You're not interested in pivoting. That is what creates success. That is what gets you towards your goals. You have to be open to taking a bit of an ego hit. You have to be open to rejection. You have to be open to things not working. You have to be open to pivoting. You have to be open to clocking your own toxic traits. You have to be open to the fact that bad things will happen to you. It's just a rite of passage in getting to where you want to be and working towards your goals. So to see yourself as this victim is going to get you nowhere. Sometimes people have this mentality because they actually don't have a huge amount of confidence in themselves. They're scared of rejection. They're scared of the no's. They're scared of, not achieving. So actually it's a lot easier to make the excuse, you know what, this is why these things have happened to me, this is why I'm in the position that I am, and not take accountability. Again, another thing is that in terms of success, you have to be able to hold yourself accountable. You have to be able to take accountability for how you participate in your own suffering and how you participate in not getting to where you want to be. And it's a very uncomfortable thing. For example, like I said with YouTube, I started when I was 22 and I'm 26 now, and I've kind of like gone in and out of it because I had this sort of feeling of like, oh, well, I just need to post like 1 or 2 videos and I'll probably blow up. Like when I first started, because I just thought that's how it happened. And, you know, my ego took so many hits, like, yeah, you're only getting like 1 view on this video. Like, that's just part of the YouTube journey. Like, it actually is. Having to take accountability for the fact over time that the only way I was going to get to where I wanted to be on YouTube was if I was consistent, if I showed up for myself, if I, you know, prioritized this in my life and didn't get distracted with other things that didn't matter as much. That was the only way I was going to get anywhere. And I have to take accountability for the fact that my ego was like hurt at the rejection that was expecting one thing and actually receiving another, and dealing with that misalignment between what I expected and what actually the reality was. Being able to take accountability for the fact that, for example, during my, you know, attachment journey or healing my anxious attachment, was understanding that I let people in who didn't deserve my presence, who didn't deserve to even look at me, who didn't even deserve to like experience any of my energy. I had to acknowledge that I participated in my own suffering because I let those people in that frankly didn't deserve it, because I was feeling so low, self-esteem, so on, that I like self-harmed with letting people in that didn't deserve my energy. I participated in my own pain by doing that. And a lot of people wouldn't want to admit something like that. They wouldn't want to acknowledge or take accountability for something like that. And that's the sort of thing that holds you back. Only by taking accountability for how you stand in your own way, how you participate in your own pain, and how this victimhood, you know, defines you, only kind of acknowledging that will you ever be able to overcome or get past that and get out of your own way and get these blinkers on and not get distracted by victimhood, not taking accountability, and so on. You can take all the physical action, you can do all the right things, but until you change that mentality, until you know, heal that part of you and start taking accountability, will you push past this period and be able to actually wallow in the success that you're looking for. My final thing is taking things personally, and I've touched on this actually before, but taking things personally when they're not personal. The massive realization I've had this year is that people project. The way that people behave is mostly about them and very little to do with you. So taking things personally and agonizing over why somebody treated you a certain way or why things have happened in a certain way is holding you back. It's like you're getting distracted with the why, when in fact it's not about why or whatever. It's actually, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. And you know, I've had jobs in the past few weeks where I have been experiencing a lot of like unreasonability, you know, being accused of things that I didn't do, or you know, being told to do one thing and then being told off for doing that exact thing that I was told to do. And actually being able to sit in that moment and just be like, that person's projecting. The reason that person is behaving that certain way, it's got nothing to do with me and everything to do with them. You know, it's what's going on in their internal world, like their gripe that they've got going on, and it's just bleeding onto me. People will bleed onto you, metaphorically, so often. They will snap at you, they will be rude to you, they will be unkind, and it's got nothing to do with you. And even if they, for example, raise an issue with you because there's something that you've done that's wrong, there should never be a moment of unkindness or rudeness or anything. You know, the amount of stories I've heard of successful people receiving rejections, receiving no's, receiving injustice in some way is ridiculous. And all of these people have overcome it. All of these people have been like, you know what, I'm not going to take this situation personally. I'm not going to let this define me, and I'm just going to push past it, because people will project. For example, say if I were to go and pitch in front of 4 men for my business, I wouldn't really take it personally if I got rejected, because they're projecting what their experience as men would expect from a business, or what they would be interested in, you know, as a man. And I'm sure if a man were to pitch, they might project, you know, well, I like this man because he has the same interests as me, he looks like me, and so on. People project all the time. So for me to take a rejection from like a pitch I'd done to like a bunch of men personally is like low-key futile, because they would be projecting like their expectations or their preferences or their experiences, their biases or prejudices onto me as like a non-man entrepreneur, and how could I possibly take that personally? Because it's got nothing to do with me. It's got nothing to do with me and everything to do with them projecting their, expectations or whatever it is onto me, and it has got nothing to do with the value of my product or the value of like what I have to give. The things that we experience, negative or positive, are projections. So it's so important not to take things personally, because a very small proportion of it will be personal, if not like anything at all. Don't let that kind of get in your way of thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, because people will behave in accordance with their inner world and what's going on with them and their expectations, their prejudices, their privilege, so on. 99% of that has got nothing to do with you. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That was part 2 of how you can get out of your own way when it comes to your success journey, how you can become more confident, how you can just level up and just work towards becoming that successful, desired version of you. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think, whether, you've had the same experiences, what you feel like has kind of helped you get successful, how you've gotten out of your own way, what mindset sort of shifts or work you've done to gain the success that you have. I'd really like to know. But with that, I hope you have a fantastic remainder of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.